Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Brighter Podcast. My name is BatSheva.
My name is Chelsea.
And my beloved Chelsea makes my life so much brighter.
And my life is definitely brighter thanks to BatSheva.
Chelsea and I love to come on this podcast and share with you all the tools, techniques, and stories that we have in our own life in order to help and make your day brighter. And today we have a topic that is very impactful and meaningful and relevant in both of our lives. And before we get into the juiciness, we will go ahead and invite you to take a few calming breaths with us so we can all arrive in this beautiful digital space together. And for those of you who are not watching us on YouTube, we have a special treat because Chelsea and I are here together in her studio. I'm visiting Chelsea in Missouri. I'm not in Los Angeles for the next few episodes. So it's really a treat for us. And hopefully that translates to you guys. So here together, Chelsea and I, we're going to try to shut our eyes. And if you are in a place where you can do that, please go ahead and close your eyes. Otherwise, just relax your shoulders a little. Unclench your jaw. Go ahead and take a nice deep breath in through the nose, calm, quieting energy. Release it through the mouth. Let anything that's ready to go, go. Second breath in through the nose, calming, quieting energy. Letting it out through the mouth. Let anything ready to go, go. Take our final third breath all together. In through the nose, calming, quieting energy. Letting it all go. And we have made it to episode 51. Chelsea is actually holding our microphone between us because right before we went live, our microphone stand broke. So we're going with the flow. And we're episode 51. The title is Wild Courage under our Human Consciousness series. Having wild courage. Do you have wild courage? Where does that come into play in your life? Any thoughts?
Yes, of course. Courage, number one, courage is one of my words of the year this year. And so I feel that just kind of having that intention and setting that out there, that it becomes kind of one of the lenses that I have been looking through. And so I've been meeting a lot of opportunities, a lot of challenges, a lot of incidents, experiences with that courage. I've been given the opportunity to flex the courage muscle. And yeah, it's not easy at all. Luckily, though, I have been gifted with a lot of support and a group of people who I can share what's going on with and receive different perspectives. And it really kind of reminds me of this practice that I've been doing in the coaching training that I'm doing. And one of the things that we do is go into what's called the throne of the heart. And you envision that you are bringing in these different parts of yourself and like a council around a table, and you're hearing everyone's perspective. And so I've been kind of envisioning that these friends, family, support systems have been the different parts of myself even coming in, and I'm hearing everyone's perspective as I'm gathering the information and asking the questions about these different topics. And yeah, after hearing them and then receiving their input and then kind of reconvening with my own inner throne of the heart, my own inner parts, it's really allowed me to decide what feels good. And a lot of it has been somatic based. And by somatic, I mean feeling in my body. Like, what is my, whenever I think of something or say I'm going to do something, what reaction does my body have like viscerally? Like, is there a tightening in my stomach? Is there like, does it feel like a weight has been lifted, like a sigh, or am I feeling like my heart's racing? So yeah, I guess specifically, yeah, I experienced a pretty big thing that happened, and
Opportunity to be courageous.
yeah, big opportunity. I'm still actually kind of in it, to speak about anything that was on your heart, in your heart. And whenever I did,
Turned out
turned out they didn't mean anything.
it wasn't a
They,
safe space.
yeah, it turned out they meant like something else that didn't affect anyone. Everything is interconnected, or this is my own perspective, is that everything is interconnected, and no matter what we say or do, it is going to affect someone, whether that be in a positive, uplifting, inspiring way, or whether that be in a way that maybe they question or look at themselves, or it could always be in a hurtful way. And yeah, having the having that happen and speaking it, and then feeling really shamed in a place where they are constantly saying like every emotion is valid, everything that you're feeling, even if you're feeling nothing, that's great, like celebrate that. And then whenever it really came down to it, and I was told to share authentically what was really in my heart, anything that was on my heart, I was not celebrated. I was not, um,
Made to feel like supported,
yeah,
comforted.
not supported. Yeah, not comforted. Definitely shamed. And I actually even told that maybe I should read some books in order to figure out about these feelings. And
Don't you
so,
love it when people tell you that? Just go read some materials about yourself so that
about
you
your
can.
own feelings.
Yeah, I'm like, wait,
I mean, I
actually,
get
I think
it.
I felt them.
Yeah. I think that I could kind of understand if it was a different situation, but I think that it was just like a huge miscommunication. And so now the opportunity is really being how to address the situation. Like, well, number one, the wild courage came out even just to share,
Mm.
because it was an uncomfortable situation. It was an uncomfortable topic. So that was the first part of the wild courage that came up for me. And then the second part is the fact that after sharing, being treated that way, and now there's the opportunity for more wild courage to stand up to people that are in charge or leaders, and share exactly how I was affected and exactly other perspectives as well.
The reason I love the term wild courage, it was something Chelsea had used that term. I want wild courage when it comes to this topic, I think it was, and it just stuck in my head. I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that because it's beyond regular courage, which we all also really need in the day-to-day life. And we need to be able to speak truth to power, which is a topic we've spoken about and so near and dear to our hearts, and to open up, as Chelsea said, to be real, to be vulnerable, um, in a safe space or in a place where it's maybe not safe, but it's important. But I love the word wild courage because to me that calls in like the divine feminine or divine masculine, like really tapping into that part of us that is unfettered and will not be tamed and will not be held by someone else saying, no, read this book and follow these rules and fit into this. I mean, actually, I was telling Chelsea for me, I thought about one thing I thought about this topic was just, and actually, it was somewhat inspired by Tosha Silver, who's a writer, spiritual leader we speak about a lot. Her book, Outrageous Openness, and a lot of her meditations, she does talk about the throne of the heart too. It's interesting you shared that. And I was so inspired by her take on life, letting the divine take the lead instead of making it happen and also just like doing what I should be doing, which right after my divorce, I know I always go back to this, but it was such a big pivot and like a huge turning point in my life. And I had been working with this coffee shop that I founded, co-founded with my ex-husband, but it had completely overwhelmed me and I had wanted out for a while. And so finally the divorce was also my way out of that business. But I didn't have another business lined up. I didn't have an obvious skill set like an accountant might have, or someone who's just only done marketing or only done one specialization, that it would be very easy to like transition into a new executive role somewhere. And I didn't want to start at the bottom because I'd only ever been an executive since my 20s. And so I was at a fucking crossroads. And um, I had kids to support, 100% custody, and financially a lot of pressure. Obviously, I wasn't getting money from the ex. And long story short,
Wasn't and still aren't.
yeah. Thank you, bestie Chelsea. I know. Yeah, exactly. It's been rough. And it's not like my ex has tons to give and isn't giving it. So to be clear, it's not that. It's not a selfishness on his part as far as hoarding any money. Just he's struggling. And so there wasn't anything to go over there, like for me to go and try and get. And he took over the coffee shop, which it's his passion, it's his name, it's his everything. So I was grateful for that, which also led me to other stressors and problems. My name was on certain debts and things like that. But it took courage at the time, really long story short, was like after I went on some interviews and I did like tons of job searching to decide to just keep going towards the things that lit up my heart. And that's what I mean by the divine taking the lead. I'm using the word divine as my own heart. That was my own somatic knowing, my own happiness. If I would just like point myself towards some corporate position, with lawyers and meetings, which was some of the jobs I was looking at because I'd worked at LegalZoom in my 20s. And I just felt everything wilt inside. Like I just was like, even Chelsea, I remember you telling me that summer when I was job hunting, and she was like, when you told me about that opportunity about the customer care director, you just sounded so sad and depressed. I was like, oh, I did. And therefore, um, and my family, my parents were worried about me. They probably are still worried about me. They want me to take the safe route, which again, I wasn't offered that opportunity. I wasn't handed a job in some insurance company anyway. But also I did stop really opening myself up to any position like that after a year and instead just decided to have faith in the paths that I was walking with singer-songwriter, writing, acting, podcasting. And lo and behold, a bridge of stones has financially appeared out of literally nowhere with each step I take forward. I've been able to land, able to take care of myself, able to take care of my children without the fucking wild courage that I did tap into thanks to listening nonstop at that point to Tosha because I did not have a great support system. Like I have a much better one now. I'm hoping for an even better one in the future. It was wild courage. It was, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the choices I made, and honestly, I'm still making them because, as you know, I still have plenty of times where I'm just like, "Oh, is this going to work out? Will I continue to be supported? Will the stones continue to appear under my feet so I can walk forward and support myself and my children, um, while still pursuing what I really want to do and what I hope to make money in, like certain paths creatively versus like I don't know how else."
I think that we both got the opportunity to have this wild courage, like during this visit as well. We both received some text messages from different people in our lives, and the wild courage kind of showed up in the responding. How to respond without apologizing for for certain things.
And
How to,
without not responding. Like
yeah,
that's,
yeah, and
you
not
know,
the wild courage to not respond, to just like,
to not
oh, like,
avoid
ugh,
it. Yeah.
like I don't want to deal with it, or I don't want to speak to it, or it's our like, I just want to, be done with it. So yeah, it was the wild courage that we both had to show, like, one, to really think about what our intentions were in the reply and what we wanted. Like, what's the desire here? And we also really worked on our language around our replies. Like, okay, what do we want? And kind of tailoring those. And then, yeah, sending them and not having any control over what the people that were receiving them were going to say or do, or how it could impact even further.
And I mean, I would ask our listeners or our viewers, I mean, are there times when you get a shock text or some information that you don't reply and you just kind of like forget it, or just, just avoid that, or, of course, being triggered, we can reply too quickly and barf out all the reactive things. That's not wild courage either. Just getting in a
Right.
fight, or
Yeah.
defending yourself. But
Yeah, and that was kind of one of the situation that I was in. I had received a message and then just hadn't had a chance to respond, and then received another message. And then as I was getting ready to sit down for my morning meditation, that's what I read. And so it also took courage to not respond then, to just say, okay, I'm going to continue to do my meditation and really take the time for myself and sit with what I just read, instead of all the other things that were kind of running through my mind that I could be doing or that I could say. And then, yeah, kind of just mull it over and feel it out. And the courage to wait to respond for a little bit until the initial shock had settled and I could really feel what was in there and how it wanted to be shared.
and then it did take courage ultimately for you to really share truthfully how it made you feel, and your side of, let's say, the
Situation.
yeah, situation.
Yeah.
And then actually on this trip, I really did feel also that I embodied wild courage because I brought up to Chelsea that I had been feeling a certain way about life. And truthfully, I didn't even know ahead of time exactly what I was even going to share with her. So the reason I look at it as wild courage is that here I was in Missouri. We're already having a good time. We're already happy to see each other. We had some plans and we had some not plans, and there was no structured, it wasn't like a therapy session. Like there was no structured reason for me to bring up and share some pretty very deep, pretty very some extremely tough feelings that I had been, I would say, repressing actually. And so I couldn't even start by expressing the repressed feelings because they were repressed, to be honest. So what I started with was just like talking to Chelsea about how I was kind of noticing that I was putting all my attention lately into my children, not in doing things for them, just like almost mentally and emotionally living vicariously through them, and being, luckily they're all doing well, knock on wood. So just being happy about that. But also there was like an emptiness, like feeling like, why is it about them and not about me? And then we got distracted, Chelsea and I, and then we went out with her husband, we did different things, and it wasn't, I think, until the next day. It was the
Mm-hmm.
next day, and we were doing some errands together and in her car, and it came up again. And goddess bless you, Chelsea. She just like sat there and was like, well, we can just talk now in the car, because I kind of brought it up again. I'm like, she was like, oh yeah, we never got to that. And I'm like, yeah. And then looking back, I'm so grateful that I had the courage to, again, sometimes it's hard for me to be the vulnerable one. It's just so much easier to hold space for someone else for me, or to have already gotten through the hard lesson. And but this was one of those things where I had to just decide if I was just gonna, I didn't even know what I was feeling, but I was just gonna keep talking until I could figure it out. So I wound up realizing that I was actually having these feelings regarding some of the Hinge matches I had had and hopes and dreams that I had already hooked onto some of those men who I'd matched with. One of them I'd videotape with, called with, like, and I had let my romantic patterning and like my old habits of like clinging to these like romantic, fantastical hopes and dreams not rooted in reality, that was kind of running rampant. And actually, last week before I got here, I had been thinking about some of that, and then I had gotten into a car accident. So there was like different, it was deep. It was very, very deep.
So
And
much going on.
I just kept like, I would look at Chelsea and her eyes were just big and loving. And then I just started bawling, crying. And then just it all came out, this feeling of like, I'll never have a partner and I'll never find someone this is how I was feeling in the moment. And then I was wrong to even want that. And like, I should just be perfect with just like wanting only the divine in my life and as a partner. And Chelsea kind of relieved me of that extreme notion. I wanted to share the story because, sometimes I think I can present as someone that's like got it all together and like, oh, like funny story after funny story. But sometimes there's messiness. For example, what I am experiencing now, and I especially was experiencing, I would say the past couple weeks, and then that kind of like came out in that in that sharing, and just having the courage to just go ahead and keep talking, keep talking, keep talking, and share. And luckily, unlike Chelsea in her situation that she shared earlier, in this case, I did get a safe and loving and comfortable reflection and witness, and therefore, like, the result was unbelievable because I was like, and I feel better. She's like, are you sure? Like, do we need to, she's like, I don't really have that much to say. And like, I was asking her if she had any thoughts, and she had, a couple, but for the most part, as we all know, once we do it, but then it's, me, myself, if I forget, I know any one of us can forget allow ourselves to be so hurt and vulnerable with another person afterwards. Just doing that, having done that is the healing. That wild courage that we had to share when we didn't want to, we didn't want to feel those feelings, and we didn't want to look a certain way, weak or stupid or anything negative. That takes the most courage. And when it's through on the other side, I was like, oh, I feel amazing now. And it's
Like a
carried
huge weight lifted just
huge
from
weight.
speaking it, just from speaking the courage, like having the courage to say the thing.
And especially being witnessed by a loving
I was
witness.
actually just contemplating as you were saying that. I'm like, maybe the gift from these leaders was the fact of them like treating me that way so that I can remember what it feels like,
Yes.
so
Oh,
that I can
yes.
never do that to anyone.
That is
Maybe that's like the gift
huge.
in it. Not that I'm still not going to have the courage to tell them exactly what happened and
Right.
like, shine my light and perspective on the lens that I was experiencing, because I don't think that it was intentional, and I don't even know that they recognize like what really happened, because they're human and they were experiencing their end of it. But yeah,
Love it. Well, you'll have to keep us posted when you do
yeah,
share. Have the
yeah.
wild courage to
Can't
share.
wait to see what's on the other side of it, you know?
Mm. We really do invite all of you, if you have acts of wild courage that this brings up for you, that you've done or that you need to do, or you feel you should do, or you'd like to do.
Or you want to share with us and be courageous and us to shout you out and to like, upride you, fan your flame, share your story. I mean, we don't have to. We can obviously just be, but we're here for you.
Yes, we are here for you. Brighter Bee community. It's all about uprighting, supporting each other, learning from each other, and paying it forward and being the change we want to see in the world. On that note, should we head on to the Daily Doves?
Let's do it.
Awesome. All right. So, finishing the episode, first Columbia, Missouri episode in the book. So exciting.
Yay.
Um, I will offer a win and a wow for today, and then Chelsea will bring it home with her wish from the Daily W's. Win number one today is that I'm bragging that I have been treated like a queen in Columbia, Missouri. I am being driven around and shown this beautiful town and treated to a pool where we could swim in water, which I love so much to connect with. And yeah, I just feel like with the food that I'm eating, and it's kind of like everything. I'm just bragging that I'm being host like as a guest. I'm like getting top tier treatment by the Good Times by Chelsea and her husband Hunter. And my wow, I'm so grateful that actually I'm going to specifically regarding like what I shared, that I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity to share with Chelsea yesterday, and that I did, and that it was received so amazingly by her. Because I mean, I think for at least a few weeks I've been uh not quite myself. I haven't felt, even I'm using all the tools, like literally every tool we talk about. I smashed coconuts back at home, so it could have been worse, is basically what I'm saying. It's not that those tools don't work and they aren't powerful, but ultimately, I really needed to be able to share that. I really needed that to be able to hear myself and feel comforted. And I'm so grateful that I had that opportunity with you. So thank you.
As our good friend says, healing happens in the presence of an empathetic witness.
Amen.
From the book, The
Body keeps the score.
Yeah. All right. And my wish is going to be related to my wild courage. And I am wishing that the email that I send is received, and that from this email, there is change that happens that impacts this event, this program, this offering, because it's already so, so incredible. And also, there's always room for improvements. So I'm just deeply wishing that my share makes a positive impact and offers the gateway for change that is in everyone's highest good and in the collective's highest good.
It is so amazing. So, as always, please make sure that you subscribe if you haven't subscribed, that you like if you haven't yet. Ding the little like button. Leave us a review. We're so grateful for those 5-star reviews we've gotten lately. Thank you.
We read every one of them.
We do. And we read all your direct DMs on Instagram. Like, you can reach us any which way through the email.
And the email replies, we read those too. So
Yeah.
keep them coming.
Yeah. And share what's on your mind, and where have you yourself had wild courage recently, and
or where are you looking to have wild courage?
Where do you need it?
If you're ready for it, you're welcome to speak it as if it's already happened. There's this wild phenomenon that whenever you give gratitude for what has already what has already happened, give gratitude for something as if it has already happened, your brain doesn't know the difference, then your nervous system feels safe and you're actually opening yourself up to receive that. So there's the invitation.
That gave me a lot to think about. I'm like, okay.
All right. Well, thank you all.
We love you.
Till next time.
Yeah.
Love you.
Bye.